Hi everybody! Bye baby and KO! It's great to see you all. We are back at it again with terrain generation. So, maybe you can see baby in the stream. It's hard to say. But great to have you all here either way. And we're going to go ahead and go right on over to Messenger where you might be able to just very barely see this image. Yeah, just very barely. And this is what we're working on. If you haven't seen this already, you can check out the previous 2 live streams we've been working on. The previous one I think is the best of the 3 that we're going to be doing. Today we're going to talk about some really cool stuff, but it really is building upon the foundation we've set up. And there's a lot of really things that had to be done for us to do what we're going to do today. And then the reason I recommend the previous one, because first of all, they're close to 6 hours each. And yesterday's, I spent about 10 to 15 minutes breaking down the first 5.5 hours and how we got there. And as long as you have some scripting background, you're probably going to be able to start understanding how it was built. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a very hard concept to fully wrap your brain around, but I do believe if you take small baby steps, you can get through it. And if you're really trying to recreate this, you might want to start with the first live stream, as that one does do it in a step-by-step process. It also shows you where we made mistakes and how we kind of learned from those. So then in part 2, yesterday's, we tried playing around with biome generation and kind of figuring out how do we spread out the biomes. I wasn't really happy with any of the results yesterday. And so today I'm going to take another stab at seeing if we can't make it a little bit better, not by necessarily messing with our original our biome code that we worked on yesterday, but maybe messing with our original code just enough that it could look better. And then the other thought was that I wanted to, I can quickly say that basically we have a smoothing function that's currently set to 30, and I have a feeling if I set it to like 60, we'll get larger biomes, which could be the solution. And then if we take the power function and take it from 2 to something higher, it could amplify the mountainous region, so it still looks nice and intense and even more intense. So I'm kind of excited to play with that, which is another part that I really wanted to increase the amount of snow-capped mountains that we find. So that's another important part. But I have actually a whole list of things I was interested in doing today. I can't guarantee we'll get to it all, especially because there's a concert in 2 hours that I'd like to go to. Not sure if y'all are going, but maybe I'll see you there. So we're going to try to fix the spawning in published mode. So in published, the spawn gizmo doesn't track with the player, and therefore you don't get respawned to the position of the player, which was the idea of grouping those 2 things together. The water bobbing can be problematic, so there's some problems with that, where you can get stuck underground. I'd like to add tree spawning, so randomly on grassy or dirt tiles, we'll spawn a tree. I'd also like to randomly move the bird visual effects around so that they are not always in the same location. I'd also like to disclose the seed number so you can see the seed number. I don't know that we're going to get to this, but I'd like to be able to reset the world by typing in a new seed number and hitting submit. So therefore you can kind of create your own biomes and see what a different biome looks like. I'm going to remove the brooms. The brooms do cause the world to break because you can travel faster than the world can load, which is problematic. So we do need to remove the brooms, unfortunately. Let's see. What do we got? We got adding chests. So I was thinking about adding chests. This is definitely not happening today. But if we did, my idea of chests are these asset chests would have potentially a broomstick in it after I just talked about removing it. But theoretically, that could be okay as long as it's maybe has a pop-up and warns you. Jumping shoes so you can jump higher I think would be a lot of fun. Also like a speed boost shoes, so some faster running shoes. And then the other thing that's kind of like the main purpose of today's video is like adding gamification and leaderboards and placing these on the top of the cube so that you can see what is your stats, how are you doing. So then, of course, like I mentioned before, I want to do large oceans, I want larger plains, and ideally some forests, and then more snowy mountains. So that's the list of things that's on my kind of to-do list for today. And I thought about doing this off stream, but I decided we'd do it on stream so that at least it would be recorded and you guys can reference it and kind of see the progression of this world. I did like maybe 15 minutes off stream just before deciding to go to stream today. So there's a little bit I did, like I removed the boundary box, so there was a bounding box around the whole world. That's been removed. I also took the water, made it bigger, and so the water is now 5x, which is what is 5? You multiply by 5 and then you're actually getting 25 times more area. Anyway, it's massive. Like, I want to be able to tell people it's infinite, but really I have to stretch the water to whatever the distance is that people can go to. It was already pretty hard to get to the edge of the water. Now it's like, you know, it's 5 times further away, so it's pretty hard to get to the edge of the water. And I think it's a fun adventure, so that's cool. Like, people can go on an adventure to see the edge of the water. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. I got some water, which is good. I've got my notes I'm going to actually leave open over here on this computer so I can see them by peeking through my nose hole. There we go. There's my notes over here. Nice and large. Okay, I could actually pop them, now that I'm thinking about it, I could actually just put them in VR. That's an interesting idea. Got the VR headset popping on the Bobo from the beginning so we don't lose power anytime soon. I do find that the extra weight on the back isn't my favorite thing. Oculus has some strap recommendations that I might have to consider so that I can have a little less pain. There's a little bit of pain in the back of my head with this much weight on. And then let's go to this picture. That's not really going to do us much good. What I want to see, YouTube chat. There we go. Got our chat open, so I'll be able to see you guys in VR as well, which is exciting. And let's see, can I slap that there? Nice. Looking good. Then we got our OBS also looking good. And we did the thing with Horizon to try and fix the thing where it doesn't necessarily look good. Controllers, I'm right here. Okay, we'll do it this way. And now the controllers want to play. There we go. Happy days. There we go. I ate that burger in the first episode of this stream series, and my controllers now have drift. So don't eat greasy foods while using your Quest. Ugh, just don't do it. Don't do it. I'm gonna have to go get some contact cleaner, which I'm really dreading. Okay, opening up. Quest link. Launching. There we go. Okay. Boom. Connected. Go. Let's go open up our library. Horizon Worlds is loading up. With that loading up, I can now actually switch our audio and our video into the close-up mode. Boom. We got our desktop capture on. Looks pretty good. I'm kind of centered. I'm always worried about making sure this loads in correctly, so I should try and stay still. Always being relatively recent. Okay, we're loaded in. Going to close the menu. Walk over here. Rotate my body in the real world. And look at that. I still feel like it's off to the right, but I'm not going to worry too much. If I look at this menu, kind of looks right. It's good enough. If you guys aren't able to see, just comment and let me know that the video isn't looking good, so that way we can get it fixed. Okay. Editing terrain generator. So we're going to make this version 0.03 is the goal today. We're going to update this to the next version. I kind of like this idea of a version history. It's kind of fun. I guess it's nice that it pairs with each episode. That kind of like, there's some, I don't know, I like it. It's kind of nice. I'm going to jump and bring out the chat real quick. Desktop panel, Google Chrome, chat. Place you guys right there on the camera. Oh yeah, so I'll be able to see you guys. If you have anything you want to say, please feel free to. There we go. All right, so that set up, we've loaded in. If you haven't seen this before and this is your first time, take a look. It is pretty crazy. It's really cool. We've got this little like mountainous area here that we can climb up. Every time we load in, it's different. So I get excited every single time to see what the new world looks like. And we can see this is what it is. Let's go to the top. Can I make it to the top? It's not always guaranteed you can make it to the top. Oh, we're gonna jump around that corner or that corner. Let's go for this one. Made it. All right. One more. Is this? I don't think this one's possible. Yeah, that's it. That's as high as we can get. But that's what's so cool about this. And so it's constantly generating around our player. And so you can see if I walk towards the water, it's going to bring in some more of these water tiles. We've also got that swimming script here. Sometimes in build mode, it does take a little bit longer to load. So this is normally pretty snappy. There it goes. Keep it going. Like, yeah, I do have the green dot. I'm not sure if you can see it in the stream, but there's a little green dot above my head, which denotes that I'm the person in charge. I'm kind of wondering if this has got some sort of load-in bug, because this is really... Oh, wait, I can feel the objects. I'm standing on the objects, so there is something here. Interesting. Well, I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, there it goes. I'm not going to worry about it too much because we do have a lot to get through and only a couple hours to do it, so not nearly as much time as we usually have in these streams. I'm going to go ahead into build mode, and we're going to stop the world. So script and stop. There we go. And the broomsticks, I think, have just got to go. I love the broomsticks, but we're going to delete all of these. There we go. And I'm going to just keep one in the sky in case we decide that we want to make it into an asset for our chest. And the one problem that people were complaining about is the instant return. So we're going to make it delayed return of 30 seconds. So you get 30 seconds after you let go to pick it back up. There we go. Okay. So that's been set up. Now, with that, we also have these birds, which I love, but they're also very problematic because there's so many of them. And while it does add a nice aesthetic, you really only need some amount of birds near the players that are in your world. So really only want to keep one of these and then just teleport it around. So these are just, like I said, some quality of life improvements. I think the name of this series today is the interactive. And so kind of thinking about these as adding little interactions, like interacting with the birds and making sure that is a good interaction. So I think I can just select the rest of these pretty easily because I have made the ground it's all locked, so I can't accidentally select it. There we go. So I've just selected birds. We can now delete those. There we go. So we've only got this one bird here, and I only wanted it to have one so that I can start with that and then change it later. And you'll remember we built a while ago, we built the rain script. I'm hoping I have it in my asset library. It would probably be under... Please sort. Please be in here. Fireworks, open door, starfield generator, door loader, group, 3D minimap. Rain and snow. There it is. Perfect. Okay. So this is our rain and snow. And if you don't remember rain and snow, first of all, it's amazing. But the way it works is it's just a singular item here that's going to teleport around this block. And so to quickly demonstrate how powerful this is, we're going to select this and then duplicate it. And so I've started seeing this in all the worlds. All the worlds are using this. And I'm just so happy to see you guys have built this script and are using it in your world. So great job. I really love, seeing you guys all level up and put your skills to the test. So we'd last left off with it being snow. What happened? Oh, they're all down here for some reason. For some reason they didn't keep the connection. But what you can see is they are teleporting, and you're getting these little droplets that are falling, and they teleport all over the place. And I don't know why they're not behaving correctly, but we just need the script. We don't really need any of these things because we're going to do something very special with our rain projectile launcher. And we got a lot of things to fix. So I'm going to go and quickly open this up, and we're going to rename this script to be the birds. So we're just going to call this birds. There we go. And that's good. And then we're going to close out of that for now. We're going to come back to it. But what I wanted to do first was remember that we had this player icon. And if we zoom into the grouping, we're going to grab our location pill and pull it out of the grouping by selecting it and then letting go and then clicking to leave it. And now the question is, we've got this green dot, but it's the only thing in this group now, right? Because the player pill isn't in it. Looks like it might have a weird bounding box. Turn visibility off. Yeah, it's really just this green dot here. But for some reason, it's got some weird... If I select this, deselect it, does that fix it. Doesn't seem to fix it. Open this. Yeah, for some reason it thinks the bounding box is there. It's not. You can see it's not actually referencing that. That's fine. But it is referencing this green dot, which will then be attached to the player. And so what I'd like to do is take this and use this as our reference for the birds. And so when we go into the birds script, we're going to reference the player leader icon. So position reference object. I guess we can just call it position reference object. That makes sense. So the radius is fine. But what we want to do is actually adjust our radius to be something like -50. And I'll walk you through the script in just a second if you haven't seen this tutorial. And then we're going to change the height. So this is how high up above the player do the birds spawn. And we're going to do 20. And so we'll go click confirm. I should have called that Y height. So number Y height up by, there we go. That's a better name for it. And then we'll go ahead and type in 20 there. There we go. Okay, so with that in, when the world is started, we send rainfall to self. We're going to go ahead and give this a new name. I like the name loop because it's pretty generic and can be used on a lot of different scripts. So we send loop to self after a random delay of 0.5 to 2 seconds. And then when loop is received, we're going to go ahead and keep looping. So we have rainfall down here, which we're going to change to loop as well. And we say when loop is received, move self to this position reference plus the vector with random value of radius, absolute value of radius. And then we're also doing that to the height, which is interesting. We're actually going to delete this height reference here. And then we're going to do that to the z. So we do this random number between radius and then the absolute value of radius, because we note that we put in a -50. So we want to go between -50 and +50 because absolute value makes it positive. And then y is going to be this y height up by, which is just going to move the birds so they're always spawning 20 above the player. We could do a random radius as well, but I think that's going to work for us. Now with that, we then launch projectile on self. That's not required, so we can go ahead and delete this. But we do have this send loop to self after a random delay that's way too short. We want to go ahead and change this to be something much larger, like 120 to 240. So this only happens every 2 to 4 minutes that the birds are moving to a different location. In fact, I am going to speed it up to be between 60 and maybe 180, so a little bit faster. 1 to 3 minutes, these birds will move. The problem is the birds teleport. That's the main reason we want to make this slower, is because when you move the birds, you'll see it actually moves the birds. So there's a visual, oh my gosh, they just moved. So we want to do this very infrequently. Although there is this opportunity here that if we set this between, say, 15 and 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds actually. Yeah, I'm wondering if we do between 15 and 60 seconds, and then we say under our actions tab, we have play visual effect. We could then play the visual effect on self so that this is only playing. Let's go ahead and turn off play on start, turn off looping, and then attach the script birds. We do need to attach the position reference, which is that green dot. You'll remember is down here. So we'll open that up. There it is. And then we'll go and bring this up into here, drag our group reference into here, and then I'm going to go back the other way because sometimes this glitches on me. So I do that twice on the first time I do that. There we go. So with that referenced, we should now be able to hit play, and this is going to teleport around every 15 to 60 seconds, although it will happen the first time the world loads. So just to see what it looks like as frequent as possible, I'm going to set this to be between 15 and 15 so we can see if it's teleporting before the birds have faded. And so what you'll see happens, theoretically, any second now, 0.5 to 2 seconds. That should have happened. Why did that not teleport? Open. References incorrectly. Checking. Send loop to self after 0.5 to 2 seconds. When loop is received, move self to this position reference plus the new vector, random, this and that. Play visual effects on self, send loop to self. So script, stop, play. Oh, it did teleport. I just didn't realize it. Okay, so here it is. But I don't see any birds coming out of it. That seems problematic. Okay, would have expected that to work. So we're going to wait 15, 14 and see what happens on the next one. Okay, there goes. I'm still not seeing any birds coming out of it, which is decidedly problematic. The location isn't far enough away for me either. It's definitely too close. I've got an idea on how we can fix that in a moment. But yeah, there's no birds playing. So let me double check my script for simple mistakes. Play visual effects on self. That should have worked. So let's say when world is started, play visual effects on self, and then just hit play. I think what's happening here, my best guess, and I'll go into plate mode just to watch this, make sure it's doing what I think. I can't see where it's at, of course, but I'll just rotate my head and look around, maybe from over here. So I don't see any birds. Gonna keep rotating. Not seeing any birds. We're gonna wait another 15, 14. So it should have spawned around me somewhere. And what I think is happening is that the visual effects for birds do behave extremely different than any other visual effect. All of the other visual effects are placed when you play the visual effect, but this one has always been slightly different. And so it does seem to not play with that. So let's try something else slightly different out. I've got a pack in my asset library of birds. Well, it's actually all of the different visual effects. And then there's a loop here so that you can see them playing. So if we script and hit play, we should be seeing birds come out of here. Here's the birds. And interestingly enough, I don't see the birds coming out, which is peculiar in that when I took these birds out, they were coming out. But if I turn play on start on, still nothing. Turn looping on, still nothing. Oh, there they go. Okay. But it's going to send out another set of birds very soon. Yeah, see, it's before they've disappeared. And so the question was always, could we turn off looping? So I've turned looping off now. And the way the birds, this script is working, the FX loop, it's every second. You can actually see all of these are going off in sync because they're all running the same script and they're all playing, but the birds do not. So I wonder if we turn off play on start, turn on looping. Oh, you can see the birds just appeared out of thin air. So I've turned off play on start, I've turned on looping. It does send them off with looping on, but I don't think the play visual effects is causing it to happen. Okay, so we've learned some things. Nothing too crazy. I'm gonna go delete those now. What I wanted to try then and therefore was to open this up, turn on looping, and just see if that does the trick. So we should have it teleporting around here somewhere. There it is. Now there are visual effect birds, but what we should see happen is that it's going to teleport and it moves them with it. And it's going to do that again. And that's pretty jarring when it teleports, which is the main reason I was suggesting we do it every minute to like 3 minutes so that it's not as jarring. It's just, it does happen on occasion. Yeah, it does seem like the looping needs to be on and the play on start will need to be on. That's fine. It's okay. The birds are different. They're special, and that's okay. So what we're going to do is delete this play visual effects on self. We're going to change our loop back to the, let's go with 120 to, I think we are going to go with the 240. So that's every 2 to 4 minutes these will move. And what I'd like to do then, now that we have this set up, we don't need to play visual effects on world start. This is fine. We also need to add some random rotation around its y-axes. So we're going to say rotate 2, and then we're going to go grab a new rotation from our operators tab under vector math. We have rotation from XYZ, and then we can plug in a 0 into a couple places here. So go number input from the values tab, and the pitch and the roll is 0. And then in the yaw, we're going to do a random number between minus 180 and positive 180. And that will give us a rotation so that every time the birds move, they are rotated differently. So we should be able to see that right off the bat. So now currently they're facing that way. And now when they spawn, oh, right, it's going to take a while. So I guess we can hit stop. Oh, it says you can't rotate the unable to rotate a prototype visual effects. Interesting. So apparently we cannot rotate visual effects objects. What we could do then is group it together with something else so that it could be rotated. So we'll go and grab a cube. Trying to think low capacity here. And so cubes actually take up more capacity in our case than a sound recorder. Yep, we're going to use the sound recorder. It's a weird one, I know, but the benefit to the sound recorder is that it doesn't take up any capacity unless you record something on it. So that's the benefit. And then the nice thing here is we can actually remove the script from here. So we'll just remove the bird script. And then this is the same. We just select these two, group it together, open the properties panel. It will need to be listed as animated, and it also needs to be attach script birds, and then we just need to reference our friend down here, the green dot. So I'm going to go ahead and select our green dot friend, open properties panel, and then drag over the group reference, and I am going to do it both ways just as before. Okay, there we go. So we've got that set up. Let's go ahead and hit play, and now we shouldn't get any issues. It should rotate. Yep, there we go. Now we got a nice rotation, and that's going to do great. So the next thing we want to do with that working is go into our bird script, and the last thing that I really wanted to change is it was way too close. So the minus 50 radius was way too close. So I want to change this to be somewhere between 150, and that should make it substantially further away. And then what I wanted to do next was select this. And now, unfortunately, each of these now comes with a simulation animation cost of like 1%. It's pretty expensive, but we're going to make 4 of these. And that should be pretty affordable, I think. So we go to capacity, we can see, I'd have to drop our player settings from 20 down to 4 so you can see it. But we have 1% dynamics, which is those 4 objects. It's weird that it shows 3% on here. I believe that's the new bug that's been going around. But you can see 0% visual effects because for some reason visual effects don't take up capacity right now. Geo's at 1, objects at 2. I heard the fix for this bug should be going out soon. So we shouldn't have to worry about it for too much longer. So hopefully that's fixed sooner than later. Although, to be clear, I've been hearing that it's going to be fixed any day now for over a week, so maybe not. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we've got our birds in play. I'm going to go ahead and play the world, and what we should see happen immediately is the birds should all go off into their own little places, which is good, and they're all in different rotations, which is great. Now we come into the world as a player, and the next time they teleport, which is going to be somewhere in 2 to 4 minutes, these are going to be at equal distances that you're currently seeing them, but at different places in the world. And they'll just kind of appear. It's going to be a little jarring, I think, but at least they're going to be surrounding the player. Like they travel with the player, which I really love. So this is good. This is really good. I'm going to go look at our to-do list, but we're just like blowing through this. Great stuff. So opening up over here, buttons, buttons, more buttons. Boom. Okay. Going to Messenger, I had my notes, and I'm just going to bring these notes into VR. The problem with Messenger is it's so gross. Command
see. YouTube Studio. Let's go and jump over to our chat here, you guys. There you are. And I think I'm just going to paste this into the chat. Oh, but it didn't take my breaks in there. That's okay. It takes 2 seconds. Fix spawning and publish. We do need to fix that. Okay. Oh, is it not going to let me break it? Oh, and it's too many characters as well. Lovely. That's okay. Guess I won't do that. We'll do the hard thing then, and I'm just going to bring this menu from the messenger into VR. So this will be nice because I'll be able to actually see everything, and then I can read it. There we go. Nice, like that. Not sure why it started scrolling randomly, but there we go. Fix that. And pen to experience. Okay. So with that, and by the way, I can't actually see your messages here in VR, so feel free to message, just like I can see these notifications. So I'm going to go ahead and resume. And that didn't pin for some reason. We'll try that one more time. Script, menu, and pin to experience. I'm actually going to grab this and rotate it over here. I think. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that is perfect. Okay, and resume. Nice. Okay, so some of the things that we've done, we have not finished fixing the spawning, but we did finish fixing the birds. The randomly moving bird visual effects is done. Tree spawning is something I'm really excited about. But there's these like little quality of life things that need to be finished, like getting stuck underground and water bobbing. The water bobbing thing is a lot of fun. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, if you're really fast, you can jump off, land in this water, and you get thrown in the air. And it's a ton of fun. It's way too much fun. And it's much easier to do. Look at that, I'm swimming. And so this is what swimming is supposed to look like. But if you fall from a really high height, you get this super big bounce. And I think it's so much fun. I kind of like it. But I was thinking about adding an if statement where if you put your hands together, it'll actually let you sink, kind of like if you penciled. And that's actually really easy to set up. It's just using a dot product. And so we go to our water script over here. We should kind of clean this up, I think. Let me move some stuff around here. We're going to lock you in place so we don't touch you. We're going to select these two, slide these up. There we go. Good job. So we've got our swimming script. And previously our swimming script would just move the player up by an amount. We could actually cap this so it doesn't throw the player too high, but I think the throwing player high thing is a lot of fun. So we're going to leave it. And then when trigger is exited by player, we fix all those things, which is fine. So the question is, when we are deciding to add physical velocity, we do this if the distance of the player is greater than 0, meaning the player is their torso is below the water. We then move them up. And so what I want to do is add an additional if, only if that's the case, which is going to say, and I want to remember how I did this. I want to say I did dot product of greater than or. So I'm going to use an or statement. And then you grab the less than symbol for the left side and the greater than symbol for the right side. And then we go and get a dot product. And since we're going to do this a bunch of times, we're going to create a number called I dot, meaning that it's an iterator because we were constantly changing it. And so we set I dot. And if you've never used dot product, don't worry. I'm going to explain it to you in pretty easy terms, I think. And so we go to our operators tab, scroll down, and you're going to find the dot product under vector math. There it is. There's the dot. Okay, so we drop the dot product into here. And then what we want to do is scroll down just a little bit further to player, where we can get the forward direction of player. Drop that into the A and to the B. We then go and grab player pill, dropping it here, and then thumbsticking to the right to duplicate into both spots. And then we're going to select the left hand and the right hand. And so what we've got here is the forward direction of one hand and the forward direction of your other hand. And so if your forward directions are parallel, you are then pointing forward, and they're parallel, which equals 1. If they're pointing inverse, it's -1. So if you do like this, that would be -1. But if you do both hands up, that's +1. And I'm realizing now that I have made a mistake in that both hands pointing forward does equal 1 as well. And we really want this to only affect if their hands are pointing straight up or pointing straight down. And because it's pencil, and most people pencil by putting their hands down, but it is kind of fun to put it up. Let's try it down first, and then we'll use the or statement to create the other. So what I've done wrong here is I've checked the left hand and the right hand together, which is checking the parallelness of the, you can actually see my raycast here, of how close they are pointing in the same direction. But what we actually want to do is check these against their parallelness to pointing upwards. Ooh, and that's the solution. Oh, that's easy. That's the solution. Okay, we've got this. So the I dot is going to be I need to grab a set2 so I can fill this out without losing my track of my thoughts. So what we need to use is absolute value. And so remember that what I was talking about -1 to kind of give you a visualization of that. Let's say this is the vector 0, 1, 0, which means it's pointing straight up with no rotation. So with a straight 0, 1, 0, if I point my other hand straight up, this will equal 1. Now if I point it down, that'll be -1. If I take the absolute value of -1, it becomes +1. And all I want to know is that the player's hands are either pointing both straight up or both straight down. In fact, even if you have the player's hands pointing like this, they're still kind of a pencil, so I guess that's okay. And so the goal is that if the player jumps like a pencil, they're going to get respawned and they can fall out of the world. Because that was what was preventing them from getting stuck, is that we were sending them upwards, and so they couldn't fall through the world. And so now we're going to create a method that they can fall through the world. And so using absolute value on the dot product of one hand versus the other. So we're going to do the left hand first, which will be against that vector I told you, 0, 1, 0. So 0, 1, 0. And then by making this, we'll create another, just so it's easy to see. Do we need to create another one? We really don't. We're going to actually delete idot. I'm sorry. Just to keep our script a little bit cleaner. And while it's going to be a little bit longer of a script, it will be easier to understand. So the first one we want to do, and we're going to delete this other one. We're actually going to keep, we're actually going to keep the one on the right. So we're going to delete this one, and then the greater than symbol, we're going to duplicate into both the A and the B slots, and we'll fill out this one first. And so we're checking to see if the absolute value of the dot product, which is the parallelness of the left hand with the upward direction 0, 1, 0, if that equals greater than 0.7, meaning it's mostly pointing straight up, because getting it to be equal to 1 is nearly impossible. So we'll go grab this 0, point this in here. I'm going to type in 0.75. I think that's good enough. And so if the absolute value of this dot product is greater than or equal to 0.75, we then have that one. Let's actually delete this and then duplicate this into the A slot, where we can actually drop down and select the right hand. So we're checking the right hand and the left hand. And that's actually using an or, but we need it to be an and statement now that I'm looking at it. So let's go grab another if. We're going to go back to our operators tab. At the top, you can find and. And so we want to make sure both of these things are true. So now we'll drag this into the B, and then we'll drag this into the A. And so now we've got that. We can delete the or and then drag this down into here, noticing how this highlights with which section I'm hovering over. So that's how I got those to select correctly. Okay, so we've got that. So you'll only get this. Oh, now this is checking to see if it's true. And so this is only applying it if you're making a pencil shape, but we want to do the opposite. So we actually need a not function. So we're going to actually hit undo one more time. And then over here, we grab the not operator, which inverts what it's doing. And so we can then drag this into here. And so now what this is saying is, as long as you are not pointing your hands up and not pointing your hands down, we will throw you up. And so that should do the trick. Now we can test this out pretty quickly and easily. We'll go ahead and hit play. And we're going to see some water spawning pretty easily. Nice. And so my hands are straight forward. I'm going to jump in the water. It needs to be a little deeper than this, actually. Let's get a little bit deeper water. That looks good. And so now when I jump into that water in their center, if I have my hands out like this, I should get thrown upward. And I did. So you can see I'm kind of bouncing now. But if I put my hands up, I sink to the bottom. Now I put my hands like this and I jump and I start bouncing again. And then I can put my hands up if I don't want to bounce. So that should be good, because now if somebody jumps off the world like this, oh, there's an invisible block there. It's really hard to jump off the world when you're the only person in the world, because the blocks spawn pretty fast. Come on, jump into the water, I don't know how fast they're, oh, there we go. So I'm in the water, and so what'll happen is the blocks are gonna spawn around me and I'm trapped inside of them. But if I put my hands straight up like this, I fall out of the world and I get respawned, and because my name equals Lakes05, I actually reset the world this way. And so I am now, the world should have reset. There it goes. Yep. And you can see the world spawns in around me again. And like that. Very nice. I did also want to double check real quick that our green dot is in a good spot, because previously, I think it's inside of me. Is it? I can't tell. Don't know how I'm going to. It should have been above my head, but because we were adjusting the attach point, I don't think it's above my head anymore. I kind of need to see somebody in build mode to be able to see it. Let's make this bigger. Oh, it won't let me resize it. So stop the world. Oh no, it's gone. Oh no, it disappeared. Undo. My last thing was touching that thing. Undo. Oh, it won't let me undo any further. I was inside of a script. Let's make sure my dot product still says negative. Is that one? It does. Okay. So that didn't mess that up. But the green dot is probably attached to my body right now. That's my guess. So if I hit play world, it still shows it being right here, but it's not letting me select it, probably because it's on my body. Yep, there it is. And so this is so stupid. I don't know how to get it off me. It's supposed to detach when I go into build mode. There it is. Okay. And then, oh, there we go. Okay. So we're gonna make this bigger so we can see exactly where it's at. And I'm gonna put it back here and hit oh, I can just join the world. Oh, it's below my body. What the heck? Stop world. So the bounding box of this thing got really messed up. And so I think the way to fix this is gonna seem pretty silly, but if I duplicate it, delete this, open up the properties panel, I'm gonna have to zoom into this object because we're running the script on our text object. I know it's not ideal. Zoom, lock again, close, grab this text, and then we need to reference this guy. Because I've duplicated it, it should have fixed that bounding box area we saw earlier on. So this is called the hat. And then if I join the world, script, play, it's still below me. Weird. I don't understand that. Stop. Open up the properties panel. We have the position that it's attaching to. Behavior, animated. Okay, I see the problem. Zoom into the group. So animated or attachable objects have to be groupings of two objects, but there's no second object in here. So I'm turning off collidability. No, wait, it zoomed me out. Okay, zoom back in. So I've turned off the visibility and collidability of this. I'm going to put it inside of this. But now because it's a, excuse me, because it's a group of two objects, it should now work as an attachable. Can see we're getting some kind of weirdness here, but it seems like it's okay. So we go to more tab, then go to, it's not there. None, animated, more. The heck, interactive, collidable on, more. Interesting. Did I have to make it turn off collidable? Okay. Who can take who? We got who can grab. Turn on collidable again. More. What? That's weird. It had to be made collidable so we could attach it. That's interesting. Okay, anyway, so we're attaching to the torso at this anchor position of 4. Let's go and see if this works. So play into the world. I can't see it. It wasn't below me. So that's some good news. Let's pull out that camera again. It's not in me. That's not good news. Oh, but it's above my head. Okay, so we've somehow fixed it. And I bet it's grabbable too, which is silly. I don't want to grab it. But now I go into build mode. That worked. Stop the world. Stop the world. There we go. And the last thing we want to do here is fix this. So it's too big. It shouldn't be collidable. If I turn off collidable, turn it back to animated, can I still attach it to my body at that right spot? So I go into play mode. It does seem to be attaching at the right spot from what I can tell. Let's go pull out the camera again. There it is. Okay, it is a little too high up, so let's go and adjust that parameter. And the good news is we seem to have solved some of the issues. So if we go to collidable, we can now go to this property and adjust the anchor position to 2 rather than 4. That's good. Behavior, turn off collidable again. And then we're going to scale this down to like that. So you're kind of imagining it over the player's head, right? So I'm going to go grab this, put that down there. In fact, I'm going to put this on top of this, I guess. Guess that's okay. Okie doke. And that's because these things aren't linked anymore. And so I do want to do something with this player so that this is moving around. And you can only move these if it's in a group. But apparently you cannot move it if it's an attachable group. But you can move it if it's not an attachable group. So the quick idea that I have is we grab a cube. Like I said, it's a quick idea. Grab visible. In fact, we're not going to use a cube because remember we're trying to save geometric complexity. So we're going to grab that sound recorder. We're also going to grab a script gizmo. And I'm going to show this in the quickest way possible, and then we're going to optimize it a little bit. So we've got those two. We're going to group these together. And then this script is going to cause this object to move with the player. So this is going to call follow the leader. And so the nice thing is we've already got the leadership thing working. And so what follow the leader is going to do is it's simply going to have a reference to the leader object. So we're going to call this ref object. Okay, there we go. And click confirm. And the dirty, easy way to do this is you grab on update, throw it over here, and then you grab the move to, throw it over there, go to operators, grab the position of object, put that right there, and then drag reference object, and we're done. Don't do that. It does work. A lot of people are using on update to do a lot of stuff. I do not recommend it. It's really going to slow your world down and cause you to potentially reach some errors that you wouldn't have otherwise had to worry about. So we're going to add a 1-second delay where we're constantly sending loop to self. And this loop event is going to run similar to an on update event where it's happening over and over and over again, but it'll only happen every once per second. And so that way the players, and I'd even say go once per 5 seconds, just it doesn't really need to happen that often, but it will allow us to keep the players following the players. And then the position that we're going to move to is actually going to be a slight variation of this because I want it to be above the player so you don't like spawn in a block or something. And so we're going to go grab the plus operator from the top and then put position of on the left, delete this copy, and then grab values tab vector input, and we can type in 0, 4, 0, which will put the spawn point 4 meters above the player so they kind of fall down to the world. In fact, I think it would be kind of fun if they fell from even higher, like 20 meters. So we'll try that out, and that should work. So what we should see immediately happen, if I attach this script to the object, so call this the follow the leader script, reference that to the green dot, and there we go. Go drag that group to here, and then I like going back the opposite direction just to make sure. There we go. Now we can close out of this. Let's make sure this is non-collidable. and then go ahead and hit script play, and we should see it immediately teleport in 5 seconds. I guess immediately is a little fast, but it immediately teleports to 20 meters above the green dot. So when players spawn into the world, they start falling down, and there you are. And so this spawn point is constantly following the leader, which had one issue where if the leader managed to fall through the world, they would actually die and get trapped below the world because the spawn point was following. So the question is, if I jump off the world, let's see if I can find a way to get off the world. I can't see the blocks. I'm in the blocks, but I can. So the question is, if I am the leader and I manage to fall through the world, let's go before it spawns. Dive down. Oh no, I'm in some actual water. It's so funny. This really does only happen in build mode. Hi Sushi, great to see you, by the way. It only happens in build mode where you can like, I mean, okay, this does happen a little bit in publish mode, but the lag here is a build mode thing. It's much faster in play mode from my experience last night. Okay, so I'm trying to jump into the water. Let's go. I don't want to get trapped, but I want to experience if I can get trapped. Let's go. Dive into the water. Come on. Yes. No. Yes. Dive. If I put my hands up, I should fall. Sink me in. I'm just in another lake. There's a lake here. Oh, dive. Come on. Oh, no. Oh, it's so funny. Like, Oculus can pull this off, no problem. So what I know is that if I jump here and then immediately jump off the edge, I should be able to pull this off. Let's go. No, are you kidding me? I wasn't fast enough. So some blocks are going to spawn there in like 2 seconds. And it's so weird. Script is running just fine, it says. It's not saying it has any lag. You can see the little green dot there is following along nicely. You can see this guy's following along nicely. And this should theoretically prevent any player from getting lost. So one of the things that we were having happen early on is that this would get lost with the like players would spawn here and therefore get trapped because this area despawns once the players travel far enough. Okay, so my goal is I'm going to spawn in, fall off the edge, put my hands down, and so I fall through. Okay, for some reason, I'm standing on something that I cannot even see. What is here? I don't even know. That's silly. That's so silly. Okay, well, I am trapped. But I love it. I can't even kill myself if I wanted to. It's so hard to do, but I swear Oculus does it all the time when he's in here testing. Oh man. So anyway, you should be able to fall off the edge and then get trapped under because this is too low. So you can see where I was. Like you can imagine the respawn is down around here. And so at that point, the spawn point isn't necessarily high enough. So I'm thinking we go to our script over here for moving the spawn point and we adjust it. So the follow the leader script so that the height, it's more than 20. Let's just go to 50, just ridiculously high. This should theoretically keep people from ever falling out of the world and dying. And I am a little concerned because oh yeah, this didn't get stretched. So this is the spawn point and it's not grouped into this guy. So this guy is our water script. And so this is the respawn. And so we're trying to make this world infinite, right? Like there's obviously a limit, but we want this to be as infinite as it reasonably can be. And so I do have to make sure this stretches. And what I'm going to do for that is grab this cube because we really want to make sure that players are trapped. And when I say trapped, what I mean is they can't fall below the respawn point. And by preventing them from falling below the respawn point means they will get respawned. So that's important. So I'm going to go open up the properties of this, make sure to turn off visibility, keep it collidable, and then group these two together once I unlock the trigger. There we go, group. And then we can stretch this out to be the same size. And actually, the way I stretched this before that worked really well is I opened up the properties panel and I just went to the attributes tab and typed in like 7, 7, 7. And I've realized I've didn't mean to do the Y, only do the other 2 coordinates. There we go. And so now we can see that the trigger has stretched out beyond the limits of the ocean. So if you get to the end of the ocean, that's the end of the line. If you go beyond that, you might fall off the world and die. And sorry, there's no invisible barrier beyond that to prevent you from falling out of the world. I've done a lot to prevent people from falling out, but like there's definitely some ways you can fall out of the world. Okay, so going through the list of things to fix, we fixed spawning in published. Theoretically, we have to just make sure it still works in published, but theoretically that's going to work good. Water bobbing and getting stuck underground has been fixed. We haven't done tree spawning. We did randomly move birds. So tree spawning, I think, is one thing. I do like the water bobbing, so I don't think I'm going to change it. Disclosing the seed number. Oh, that's really easy to do. Let's do that real quick. So under the terrain generator, when we do the display event, which is happening quite frequently down here, we say asset spawned, but we're going to create a new variable real quick. I love creating this variable. It's one of my favorites. It's a string variable that you call display me, and it's what you are displaying. Display me. And then there we go. So we can go ahead and click confirm, and then we can set display me a couple times. And so the first time we set display me is the same thing we're already displaying. Oh, wrong script. Go up one. So this piece here, that's what goes in there. And then the second time we're going to concatenate. We'll also duplicate this into the display string. And so we're going to go grab a plus symbol so we can add 2 things together. So we put display on the left, and then on the right, or actually we're going to put this on the right, and on the left, we're going to put in the current seed so that people can see what seed they're on. And we will need to break it. So we're going to grab a couple string values. So we say string input here. We're going to use string input there. And the title of this will be seed, space. And then I want to do 2 breaks so that it's got a nice gap between it and the rest of the details. There we go, double break. And then we're going to go grab variable as string so that we can convert this vector variable into a string variable. And we have seed saved right there. So there's our seed, which we can type in. Now our seed value should only be the X and the Y value. So I'm thinking I actually want to grab, I'm going to change this up just a little bit. So I'm going to go grab another set 2 up here just so I can sketch out my idea. We're going to grab another plus symbol. And then what I want to do is get the as string value here into both sides. And then we're going to go to the vector math where we can get X of vector and the Z of vector. So that way we can display only the X of and the Z of. So we're going to ignore the Y of. And then delete this and move this plus symbol into that spot there. And now when the world loads, we'll be able to see what the seed for the world is. So we'll go ahead and hit script and play. There you go. That's the seed number. It's, let me load into the world and see if I can read that. Negative 23,792.16 by negative 76,356.56. Or 5.8. And so that's how you'd get this exact world to spawn, is if we type that in. And so at some point, I really would like to make it so people can type in seeds that they like and say, like, well, I found this really cool one and I wrote it down and now we can go back to it. And so it'd be nice if there was other ways to save, but for now, this is kind of the best of the way we got. Do want to quickly delete this and add a comma in here. So I'm going to grab another plus symbol so that it's easier to read that. So we go add string right there, delete this, and then go grab the string input and go grab a space, comma, space. And now that should be a little easier to read. Go ahead and hit play. Okay. Negative 22,430.6 by negative 28,261.1. I have a feeling the decimals are getting... No, let's go and let's try a new seed. Stop and play. Yeah, it's just a coincidence that the decimals were short. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Oh no, I just realized something really painful on the back of my head. Let me fix that. Oh my goodness, that's so bad. Well, anyway, so now we've disclosed the seed number. So that was on the to-do list, so that's done. Removing brooms is done. And there's definitely some more little items left. I'm gonna go take a quick bathroom break, get some water, see if I can't get this thing fixed. Then I'll be right on back. Feel free to leave some more comments, and we got what, an hour left? Hour and 12 minutes before the concert tonight that I'm planning to go to. So quite a bit more time to get some more stuff done. Pretty exciting. Yeah, this thing fell off. Swap these out. See that that's probably
All right, and I'm back. Welcome back. Welcome me back. Glad to be back. Okay, there we go. Boom. Hi. So we're going to continue where we left off. Absolutely was asking a really good question on Discord. And I was thinking about how we need to make a video on it. She was asking about how do you make certain objects visible to only certain players. And I don't think there is any documentation, so I don't have like a link to send, which is problematic when you're in this situation. So I'm not sure, but I believe the answer to anybody trying to figure it out and having trouble is you have to set visibility to be a list of players, and you add one player to the list, which is server player on World Start, and then you can add players to that list that you want to be able to see the object after that. And it can be just a list of one player if it's only supposed to be visible to one player. But you have to have, if you want it to be invisible to all players at the start of the world, it has to have a server player assigned to it so that only the server can see it, which obviously the server doesn't exist, so. Yeah. This is so delicious. So bad, but so delicious. Unfortunately, Airlink connection was lost, so we're going to have to reload that. It does take a second. And launch. That's definitely one of those experiences that I wish worked better. Or when you go from like, I just left for 5 minutes. Like, why is that such a problem? It shouldn't be. Obviously, you should be able to just step away for a second and come back. Kind of like, if you paused a video game and on a desktop, you just like hit your escape key and then you resume. But here we have to reload the entire application. It's just, seems kind of crazy. Okay, bring you guys' comments in so I can see you guys. There you go. You guys will be right there. And then I'm also going to bring in a Google Chrome right there, so I can see my notes. There we go. Put that right up there. Where did the other one go? Go ahead and pin that there. Last one. Try one more time. Add desktop panel. Is it closing out of my old desktop panel when I do this? No. Okay, there it is. And there you guys are going right there. Perfect. And we'll make sure to pin. Grab you guys, stretch right to there. Perfect. And that should be pinned. Okay. Perfection. We're back into Horizon. Hopefully you can see correctly. Put my hand in front of me. All right. Let's switch us over to OBS. Get our...
Boom. There you go. So that should appear any second. 3, 2, and 1. My hand is right in front of my face. Looks pretty decent. Okay. Open menu, create tab, and editing in 3. Come on. 2. Any second. 1. There we go. All right, we're back on our way. It says it was just 2 minutes ago. Okay. Switching back over to Chrome for a second just to get my notes back up. There we go. And I kind of do really like when you have in the background. This, I think, looks really good as like the background while I'm in VR. I think it kind of looks cool. All right, we've loaded in. There we go. Bum, bum, bum. So if you've just joined us, or you're coming back in, we have this terrain loading algorithm that's really fun. It's pretty awesome. And we've done quite a few modifications. This birds are for some reason inside of the mountain, which is strange. Not sure why. I need to look into that. That's not supposed to happen. But we do have some other really nice things. Yeah, everything's looking pretty nice here. And let's keep walking around, just enjoying this space. I really do enjoy just the experience of walking, I think is so nice. So that's part of the question today is like, what do we want the gamification of this? So just to quickly recap, we have fixed the spawning issues, theoretically. We have to test that. Water bobbing's good. Getting stuck underground is now fixed. We want to add tree spawning, which I feel like should be the next thing we do because it's just going to change the entire aesthetic. Randomly move bird visual effects is done. We've disclosed the seed number, as you can see up there. And reset by typing in new seed is probably not gonna happen today. We've removed the brooms. We're thinking about adding chests. So if we get the trees working properly, we could easily add other things in, like chests. We also want to adjust the biomes to kind of make them larger, which I thought I could do with just a singular number change. And then the gamification is kind of like, how do we make it a leaderboard? Like, how far have you walked? How high have you climbed? All of those things are really fun little bits that, people will want to see and be a part of and engage with. So that's kind of like another thought that's on the mind. So looking pretty good. Really do enjoy exploring. I'm just sad there's not more snowy peaked mountains, which I think is something we can quickly fix. So we had adjusted this right before I got off last time to be slightly more rare. But in doing so, I think we have made them almost super rare, which wasn't the intention. And so the way to fix it, if I'm thinking correctly, is to adjust from our power sequence where we take power 1.45. Is that what's happening? No, that's not what's happening there. Where is this? Here it is. Here's the power function. And so we're doing it by 1.5, and we were thinking about dropping the current height down to 12. So it starts just 1 meter sooner, which should make things just slightly more intense. And I think that will do the trick. Now, the other thing that I wanted to adjust was our biome smoothing. And so we had set biome smoothing to 100, which we're not using that one anymore. What we're actually using is our terrain smoothing, which was set to 30, and I wanted to adjust it to 60, and then see if taking that at 60 and adjusting our power function to like 1.75, let's say, if that will give us the diversity we're looking for in our terrain. So we'll go ahead and load in. And we can see we've already got some pretty nice tall peaks here. That could be a coincidence, but I mean, like literally yesterday when we were closing off, we just had just really tons of snow-capped mountains to the point where I was like, okay, this is too frequent. And then I lowered it. And then because it's seed numbers, we don't all really know what is normal and what's not normal. It's kind of hard to see it on a grand scale, which is something I am thinking about. How do I look at this from that perspective? But look at that. We got some snow up there. That's beautiful. Let's get to the top of this. Almost there. Maybe this might be as tall as I can go without getting some like jumping boots, which is where I'd really like to add in some chests, because I feel like that's the benefit, right? Like you get oh, can I make that jump? Oh, I can totally make that jump. Okay, here we go. Gotta make this run. Oh, there it is. Okay, now we're going. Almost to the top. Woo! Oh, I can't make that, can I? Not even close. There's something over here? Nope. We'll go back this way. See if there's some other little... Maybe. It's pretty unlikely. That... Ooh. No, that's too far. No way. Probably make that, but that's not going to help too much once we're trapped over here. There's this really... Yeah, it almost looks like wood, this texture that we're seeing here. And I feel like it's stretched out. I'm not sure. It's so weird that this isn't loading in. But this looks really nice. It's interesting because you can't get to the top of it, but this is kind of what I was hoping to have happen, was that you'd get these really large plain fields. And like you can see, this is really large now. So the biomes feel a lot more interesting to discover and explore. And they go a little bit taller because of that power function, which causes things to amplify a little bit faster. It's harder to get to the top there. You get this kind of almost mountain-esque look, which is really nice. So sad that I can't get up there, but really enjoying the way that looks. Interesting that it's taking so long to load. These are the moments where I wonder if there's math that I could like simplify to make this load faster. And I just want to see what more of this world looks like if we keep walking around it. So I'm just going to go in circles. We can load up to 1,800 of these at a time. We currently loaded 500, so there's quite a bit more that we can actually load in. Wow, look at that. It's just a cut, so you can kind of see what the world looks like there. I think it is loaded. It's just taking a while to visually appear. So, like, I can probably stand on this block here. Yeah, because it is here. It's just not exactly here. Yeah. But this is definitely more of what I was looking for. There is this weird problem with the lighting. You see that? Where it can become really dark. So I'm thinking we need to adjust that, except it's so difficult to adjust. Oh wow, look at how big this is. This is so big. I love that. Like that was the point. So we've really stretched out these and kind of like given the space a feeling, which is what I was kind of going for yesterday, but I just was unable to pull it off. Like, look at that. That actually starts to feel like a beach. I have a feeling that if we walk that way, it's going to circle back pretty quick, which was another thing I was looking to quickly adjust with just some small number modifications. Ooh, got the big jumps, got the big hops. So I'm thinking, can I fall through this? I mean, we tried so hard. No, I can't. There's something here. Yeah, there's stuff here. It's so funny. This is so cool to see this loading. There's 970 blocks so far loaded in out of 1,800. So this is a substantial portion. Like, I think this is really striking when you see this. This is going to make the version 0.03 really feel like it's got something special. The birds are way too low, though, which is strange to me because I wasn't expecting them to be so low. So I think we just need to adjust the height of the birds. Let's see if I can climb up this mountain here. This is that power function being maybe a little too strong. A little too strong. Let's go this way. Oh, but not too bad. Not too bad on this one. And I guess it makes sense that you wouldn't be able to climb all the way to the top of an icy mountain, right? I guess that kind of makes sense. So I'm looking forward to seeing this thing spawning in and see what the rest of that looks like. We'll go spawn through here. This is nice because you get the muddy sort of... yeah, I really do like that there's this muddy aesthetic here, which is cool. The real question is, like, how... so we use seed numbers to make sure that the coloring was always the same. So my question is, how do we do the same thing, but also with the trees? And so I guess we just take the same math. Yeah, it'll be the same math. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. Just kind of exploring still. This is so fun to explore. This feels way better than previously. I wasn't expecting it to feel... Whoa! Oh, this just turned into a mountain. So this is where we've now added way more mountains. Maybe even too many. You remember this is exactly what I said yesterday. Too many mountains. Oh, but this one's climbable, which is big ups. Big ups to this mountain that we can get to the top. Ooh, almost. Almost. Oh, no. Can I get up to this piece? Come on. Nope. So close. I don't know. It's just these little, like, these snow-capped parts that I can't get up. So Oculus was trying to get me to add in some block breaking, some real Minecraft-esque stuff here. Wasn't really thinking so much about it. Oh, there's no way, right? Oh, man. So close, all over the place. But just can't get on a single one of these snow ones. This is the closest I can get to the top of this mountain. So cool though. And we've currently spawned in 1,300 blocks. We haven't even finished spawning in the full 1,500. This is a cool little like ocean area that I think would be kind of fun to explore a little bit further. So I think let's load in this little section and then maybe even take a picture. No, let's not take a picture because I'm going to adjust these. What I really want to happen is I want on the top of these mountains that to get a little spikier. I don't want it always to be spiky, but I don't know how to differentiate like sometimes spiky, sometimes not spiky without it looking really jarring. And I also don't want it to always be the same aesthetic. That's the other part. Is sometimes I want it to be that aesthetic and sometimes not. So I just love that function. When I hit it with my thumbstick, I get these big bounces. That's just way too much fun. So that'll load in a second. We'll load this section in as well. Birds did move and I didn't notice them move. So I think that worked out pretty well too. Just go a little bit higher on those. So fun. Wow, this aesthetic just really improved at this latest update. I'm like very impressed. I can't believe I changed like 1 or 2 numbers and it had such a dramatic impact. Okay, so we're at the limit for this world size. Going into build mode. See the rest of that loading in now. See the tops of this. Oh, look at there's the end. That's so cool. Let's go and maybe take the picture from this one. No, from this one. Like right here. Like this is a cool seed. Oh, and the nice thing is I can actually see the seed number in the picture. Ah, because yeah, that'll be so much easier. If you want to save a world, you'll just take a picture of the seed number. Duh. That makes sense. So don't want to show the snow here. We want to just show the beach. And sure. Love it. So crazy. I'm gonna go grab that seed. I can't believe how serious I'm taking this. Like it's kind of strange. Oh, but this lighting though, man. Look at that lighting. It's not super great. Okay, this is close enough to actually get the seed. Let's get a little bit closer. Boom. Booyah. Saved it. Okay. So for the nowsies, let's go and stop the world. Ran over allowed instruction count. Interesting. That doesn't normally happen. These birds are not high enough. So we had set the Y height to be 20. Let's go set it to 40. There we go. That should do. And then under our terrain generator, we had set the power function to 1.75. So I almost feel like minus 12. We do this exact same thing. Okay, this is so much extra math. Let's go take this down to 1.5. Hopefully we like what I'm about to do. We'll see. I'm going to duplicate and then duplicate and then duplicate and then change this number to be 15 or more like 20 because the math would have already amplified it. So 20. Okay, so it's only going to affect blocks that have gone over 20, and then it's going to do an additional power function, which should give us the craziness that I was hoping for on some of the mountains. Let's go ahead and hit play and see what happens. Oh, we loaded it in an ocean. Well, that's cool, but not what we're looking for. Let's stop and try that again. Since the biomes are bigger, it's probably faster just to do loading like this. And then if I load here, it should load in this next chunk. And so wherever this green dot is where it's going to load. So this is interesting. Okay, that peaked really fast. Don't think that's abnormally tall. This is a bit hard to get up, isn't it? No, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Totally doable. Okay. The question I have is what happens if we go higher than this? We haven't seen anything get taller. So let's go and stop and try to find a mountain. Play. Stop and play. Stop and play. So this is where I'm thinking, I really love how this loads 81 blocks in, but what if I had it start by loading in 9 of these? What's 81 times 9? That would be like 8 times 9, which is 72, so 729 blocks or so. That'd be a ton of blocks to load all at once, but if we could somehow break it up by a few seconds. Okay, this could have the potential to go higher, but I don't think so. It's starting to trip already. Oh! Oh! Well, there you have it. So that's the answer of what that extra 1.5 did. When you get just slightly taller, you get these, which are massive and no way to climb them, which is exciting and frightening. Okay. That's so cool. Okay. I got to see it from the other side. I just want to go around the whole thing. I was not expecting that to be that good. Oh man. Oh man, I got to see this from far away. I'm too excited. Keep loading. Let's go. Oh yeah, we're getting higher. Oh, we're getting higher. How much higher can we go? Not that much. Oh, and it's starting to go down over here. We've got some grass loading in. So we know grass only loads in on the lower areas, so there we have it. Couple more peaks here. Anything crazy? Oh man, that neck breaking tall. But it feels so cool. And it doesn't take that many blocks to load in, which I think is one of the benefits to these larger structures, is it feels like there's more to the world than there really is, because these are just singular cubes, just like the regular cubes, but because they're so much taller, it feels like you're seeing a lot more of the world. Okay, last little corner to load into. Just trying to, oh, yep, made it. Nice. That is so cool. Haha. Okay. This makes me happy, but let's go see what the rest of this looks like if we were to walk, something like straight this way. Maybe through the water. I love water. And I'd like there to be deeper oceans. It's kind of like part of my ocean problem. Yeah, that might be too tall. You can very clearly see that at the 20 mark, it immediately becomes, oh wow, that loaded fast. It immediately becomes really dramatic with that additional 1.5 being added to it. And so I think you can kind of see the layers. So you can see the thin layers there, and then it gets hit by the first 1.5, which is that second set of 5 meters, that 5-meter gap there. So it becomes harder to get up. And then you get hit by the next 1.5, and it just goes through the roof. I mean, like absolutely astonishingly tall. And so as cool as that is, it's super unrealistic from this perspective, right? Like that's like seriously. It might be better. Like it would be better if it was more stone upwards, but I think the thing that would really make this better is if it was just what do you say? You say more lower down, right? Just lower down. And I do think we should raise the height of the stone. So I do think we should raise the height of the stone, but I also think we should drop the height of these mountains because that's insane. Let's see what this one looks like. And there could be something shocking right behind us. Oh, nope, not shocking at all. That is cool. Not something we're keeping, but at least worth saving that seed number. So many cool pictures. Oh, look, it does go higher. And it should stop here, but I did think that right back there, so it's kind of hard to say what is going to happen here. I'm like kind of scared to see what loads in behind us. 39 minutes till the concert. Yo, mountain check. What's happening? Yeah, I'm gonna let that load for a second and wander around these other corners because I don't think it's like, I don't know, it's so strange why it's taking so long. This build mode be so slow. I feel like I'm a whale or something when I'm diving out of the water like that. It's kind of crazy. Oh, those birds are pretty. And then I want to run through this section. It does look like we have reached the top of the mountain over there. So that's the good news. Because the idea isn't that there should be lots of mountains. So I think the place where we start amplifying is pretty good. It just amplifies too much. And this looks really good. This looks really good. I can't get to the top. So far, so good. Let's see. Oh, no, never mind. I can totally get to the top. Yeah, this is awesome. This is exactly what we want. We want stuff like this. This is great. And this is right at the start of that amplification. Little like, that actually almost makes sense, right? Like the water would run off and it would pool down there. I just love it. I just love it. It's not like, it's not real, but it just, it feels so cool. Okay, with this mountain loaded, we're going into build mode and we're going to stop the world. Okay. Terrain gen. Change number 1 is to take this 1.5 down to 1.2. So really less intense. Okay. So with that, we're then going to take our that's that. I was thinking about raising the mountain height, but I guess this is okay. And I really, really, really wanted to take this and imagine what would happen if the position moved in the first few seconds of the world. So right now, the way this works is it says when loop is received, set hat position to position of hat. Set current position to vector. And so I'm almost wondering, and this is happening once every 2.5 seconds. What if we create a new object list? Oh. Yes. New object list. This is going to be called the starter square. Okay, so we're going to have the starter square, confirm. And there's going to need to be 9 objects or 8 objects. So objects, item, so we're going to call this P1 for position 1, confirm. Then we're going to do new object P2, and then we'll go to 8. Okay, P3. Surprisingly more tedious than I thought it was going to be to make, but should be worth doing. P4, halfway. New object, P5. 6, object, 7, one more, object, P8. All right, there we go. So we've got the 8 positions, which will be positions around us. And so what we want to do is when the loop starts, say if the length of this list is greater than 0. And so what this is going to do is use a different position as long as the length of this list is greater than 0. And so I'm also going to do a couple other things. Let's use this in 2 places. You'll see why in a second. So we're going to say if length of, and this is the starter square list, and then I want to duplicate this just so I can take it with me in a second. And then I want to grab the hat position and put it into an else statement. So we say, if the length of this is greater than 0, else set hat position to position of hat. So the nice thing here is we can now set the hat position to be the position of, and then we can get item from list at index 0. So we get item at index 0 from the starter square list. And then what I want to do here at the bottom is do another if else. And so this is when we send the loop. And so we're going to send the loop only at 2.5 second speed if this list has been cleared out. Otherwise, we're going to send it at a 5 second speed, which will hopefully prevent the world from lagging. Although I think it might be best to do more like a 10-second speed, which unfortunately means, let's try 5 seconds and see if it just lags or if it's fine. Yeah, okay, we'll see what happens. So send loop to self after 5 seconds, and then the other thing we need to do is we need to remove item at index 0 from list in this case. Remove item 0 from the starter list. Okay, so that gives it 5 seconds per cube set to load. And I'm realizing we do need to make sure the first piece we load is the starter hat, which we'll do by adding the hat position as the first item. So here at the world start, we're going to duplicate this up, delete this, grab the starter square, and then duplicate this, and then set the first item that we add to be the hat. And then we're going to duplicate this 8 times for the other 8 positions. There's 9 positions total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll drag those 1 through 8 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually, I'm realizing I made a massive mistake, which I'm just like super embarrassed by. But now that I've realized it, it's totally fine. Delete. So I've made all of these positions, and I've just realized the starter square list doesn't need to be an object list because I was trying to think about capacity and optimization. I'm going to delete all these. So embarrassing. Okay, new vector list, and call this starter positions. Starter positions. It's very similar. Got 30 minutes. That was that sound in the background if you heard that. Okay, so we're going to add the position of the hat to the starter position list. So we'll grab position of object. So there it is, position of the hat. So that'll be the first position that we load in. And then we're going to delete this and delete this and delete this all the way down. And then duplicate that into here. And then what we need to do is create 8 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. So there's our 9 starting positions. And it is similar math to what we did over here, but it's different enough that I'm not going to touch this. So then I do want to just quickly update our loop function, which is right here. So in loop, we set hat position to be position of not from starter square, but from starter position list. There we go. So that's fixed. And then the length of the starter position list, we're going to do that down here as well. There we go. Duplicate and duplicate. Ta-da. There we have it. Okay, so that's been fixed. So now these starter positions are at values offset from the position of hat. And so what we can actually do is set hat position, which we just saw was a variable in here, right here, and then use this, which will make this a little bit easier. So this is kind of like the 0, 0 in the center. And then what we want to do is get the positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the ones surrounding. And those are pretty easy because they're at minus 32. And so we use the add function here. And we'll just, I could have totally done this faster. Let's see, like that. Oopsie daisy. Okay, we didn't break anything. We're good. Okay, so with that, now we need to add vectors in here. So go to the vector list, vector input, and we set this to be minus 32. Actually, that's the wrong axis. We only affect the other two axes. So we're going to set this to be minus 32. And we know that 3 of these will be at minus 32. And then another 3 will be at positive 32. We'll type in positive 32. And then 1, 2. And then the remaining 3 will be, well, actually, there isn't a remaining 3. There's just 2, which is 0 and 0. Okay. And so just to quickly draw this out so you can kind of visualize with me as I'm doing it in my head. Here is our cube of 9. There we go. And so we know this one's the 0, 0. And so we think minus 32 is this side of 3, positive 32 is this side of 3, and this is 0, 0. Now we're going to do the inverse of that, which is on the other axes, which is the same set, except for we have to do this as, we'll say, minus 32, and then we go to the positive 32, where this is minus 32, and we go to the 0, where this one is minus 32, and then we go to the positive here, where we say this is positive 32, and then we do positive 32 here, and then we go down to this one, which is positive 32. There we go. And then the other 2 are 0, 0, which are the ones that are already filled in. And I think that's all the positions that we need to put in. So where is this error? Where are we going to type error? Go find it. Oh, we were getting position of, weren't we? Which it's not a position value. It's a, so let's duplicate and drop that to there because it doesn't need to get position of as it already is a position. Okie dokie. Let's see if that works. So theoretically, what this is going to do is it's going to load in a larger map on world start, which is exciting for a lot of reasons, but let's go ahead and hit play. So 81 just spawned in. It's now in a few seconds going to load the next 81. So 1, 2, 3, a second now. I'm shocked that didn't work. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Do we get an error? Variable type and list item mismatch. Expected vector. Let's go see. Okay, running in. Scrolling to the top. Hat position plus the vector creates a vector. So we've got vectors stored in here. This is a vector, got it. All of those are saved as vectors. And down here in our loop, if length of starter position is greater than 0, set hat position to get item 0 from the starter position list, which it did correctly and did a great job of that. Else set hat position to position of hat. So I believe the issue is probably down here. Length of starter position is greater than 0. Remove item 0 from the starter position list and send loop to self. No, that seems right. Remove item 0 from the starter position list. So where's the issue occurring? Current position, 0. let's go ahead and just so we can visually see what's happening in our script, we're going to debug print the item 0 from the list. And we'll also debug print the final current position right here. So we can see those. Let's go and hit play. So it's loaded in the first set there. We can see 81's loaded in. We can also see, I should probably pause this for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the world while we read through our errors. So first one loads in, this is the original position, which we got. And then it says 0, 0, 0, which is weird. Because it's at the center, so that makes sense. And then it loads it again with the exact same number. And it says 0, 0, 0 because it's the exact same number. Now it says variable type and list item type mismatched, expected a vector. Why is it saying it's expecting a vector? It obviously is a vector. What am I missing? I'm sure it's something simple. If you guys have any ideas, feel free to chime in. Let's see. Length of starter position greater than 0. Get item 0 from starter position, which it did a good job of. Sets hat position to the position of hat position, which is what we're replacing. Set current position to that vector, which determines where it is in the cube, and that worked really well. And then length of starter position is greater than 0. Remove item 0 from starter position. I don't see any issues, so I'm kind of perplexed here. Could it because setting loop with 1 second delay here, setting spawn asset to self 0, 0, 0. Could this be happening too many times? So spawn asset sent on world start. When it's received, it sets Perlin vector to seed plus position. This is supposed to just bring in the 0 value right off the bat so that the first cube to load in is the one right at spawn. That's the idea. Is that there should always be a cube at the spawn position. So that shouldn't be an error. Be helpful if these error codes gave me more information, wouldn't it? I hate to just keep hitting play and seeing what happens, but everything in my mind says that should be working. Expected vector. What's really interesting to me is it does spawn the first set. Okay, so what if we do something slightly different? Just for the sake of visually seeing the difference here. Let's say instead of setting the hat position to be the value, we delete that. Do the same thing we were already doing, but instead grab the move to and move the hat to the item index in list. So we go get item from list, at index 0 from the starter position list. And so now it's going to move the hat around. Delete that, and let's go hit play. The green dot did not move. Interesting. The green dot did not move. Variable type and list item type mismatch. Expected a vector. I don't understand. I'm so confused. So it did it 5 times. Probably would have kept going through the whole list. It was removing one at a time. It's a list of vectors. What else can you ask for? Debug print the list. Let's see. Like, debug print the whole list. What does it say? Script and play. It's a list of vectors. What do you want from me? This is XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. These are vectors. So, variable type and list item type mismatch. Expected vector. It is a vector. I'm really curious if this is some sort of Horizon bug that I've just never encountered before. And we're just experiencing some super weird issue. I can't think of anything that's wrong here. Now, just in case, I'm gonna go grab one additional thing. Length of list. Drop this in here. Drop this down in here. Nothing seems to have changed. Just do that one more time, just in case. If this does work, I'm going to light a bullet and tell you what I did. Come on. Be happy for this to work. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Green dot move. Green dot's not moving. Error is still occurring. Never mind. So I guess the good news is I didn't make that mistake. And for those wondering what mistake I'm referring to, the length of string looks identical to length of list. And if you mix them up, you would never know you'd mix them up. Okay, so the question is here, variable type after it gets through this list, which it will in a few seconds, should stop occurring. So it's going to hit 8, that's going to hit 9, and then it should stop because there's only 9 items in the list. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and oh, it's still going. Why is it still going? Is it not removing items from the list? It doesn't seem to be removing items from the list. Like, what is even happening in this script? I don't even know. So that's where debug prints come into play. So do we even get to this point? Debug print. I don't know. We'll just debug print the ID of hat. Although I'd prefer to put in the string and put hat so it's clear what's happening here. So hat. Okay, so we debug print hat when that's happened. We should also debug print a plus symbol so we can combine these things together. Debug print and concatenate hat plus the position of the hat. So we'll go add a colon, and a space bar, and then do variable as string, and then get item 0 from starter position list. And play. Hat. This is the position. Should have worked. Hat, same position. So it's not removing. Debug print down here in the remove section of this list. If length remove item, so it should be removing items from the list. We'll debug print current length of the list as a string and play. So now we should get 2 values every single time. So it says hat length is 9, and that's the position. Hat length is still 9, so it's not removing anything. Variable type and list item type mismatch. Please explain yourself. Where? What? Sorry, guys. I'm like, this is just so frustrating because there's no issue here. Move hat to position. Set hat position to position of hat. There is no error. Unless starter position is used somewhere. Did I use that same verbiage somewhere else? There's hat position. Did I somehow type this in twice? Current position. Current assets. Right seed, Perlin, most recent player. Current placed. Vector position. None of these seem to have the same name. Max drain, scale multiplier, max cubes, current position I, old vex, hat position, current scale 2, current biomes, biome smoothing, biome height, biomes, min y, min max y, remainder, display me, starter position. Let's give it a new name, just in case that's for some reason the issue. We'll hit select vector, list, give it a new name, call it number 2 S positions. Okay. There's no way I've used this name before, just in case that's the issue. Duplicate. 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 Scroll down. Duplicate. 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 Okay. Brain is so frustrated right now. Brain is like, please, come on, work with me now. Okay. All values have been defined. So, stop, clear, play. No, it's not going to work because it already didn't work. This makes me want to scream. I'm not going to lie. This makes me want to freaking scream because I have no idea. I'm sure you guys have felt this. If you've done any scripting in Horizon, when you reach a bug like this, you're just like, what the hell? Ugh. So frustrating. Like, why? What are you talking about? All the things are right. So sometimes what you'll do to fix it is leave and come back. So I'm going to go ahead and return to my home space. And sometimes I mean literally instantly leaving and instantly coming back. That 10 to 30 seconds is all it takes to fix a bug like this. It drives me nuts, though. Okay, I heard a ding on my computer. What was the ding? Let's see. Not important. Trying to breathe because I'm so stressed. I'm like, I don't have time for bugs. Brain be like, no, 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 no. Okay, let's go. See if it just somehow works when we get back. You know, the other thing that might be worth trying, and I absolutely hate to say this, but it might be worth trying, is we just publish and see. See if it just works. Just hit the publish button. Just like see. Maybe it'll work. I'm just wondering if there's something somewhere else in this script where this issue is occurring and it's nowhere where I'm thinking. But the fact that it's not removing items from the list makes a clear indication that there is something wrong there. Like the items are not getting removed from the list. And if the items are not getting removed, we got big problems. So I'm kind of wondering, am I doing too much on world start? Is it like the world start event is getting overloaded perhaps? I mean, this is a lot to do on the beginning of a world. No doubt. Interestingly enough, it is following my hat around. So things are loading as I walk. You can see the hat position there, and so it's loaded all around there, which is cool. Go ahead and script stop world, clear, and play. And we'll note that we still have the same exact bugs. I can't stand it. So I'm unsure what to do. Like, what if we do vector input 0, delete this from the starting event, and duplicate, drag this up, and then drag this up, drag this up. Trying to simplify this because every single line, every plus symbol you use, every little thing you do takes up some amount of capacity. Like whether it's this capacity you're looking at or the like amount of things running on the server. So like limiting that. So now that I've removed the plus symbol here, the idea that I have is down in here when we're doing the loop event, and we're saying if the length of, we set not moving hat to this position, but we set, and we're going to have to use the else statement again. We'll have to use else, delete this, set hat position to position of hat, and then what we're going to do here is set hat position to plus of position of hat plus this get item from item 0 from there. And part of me just thinks I should just rewrite all this. Like there's maybe something I grabbed that's wrong. Maybe it's position of, maybe this is supposed to be position of player, but I grabbed position of, like maybe this is position of player, but it should be position of object. There's like all these questions. I'm like, did I do something super small wrong? I don't think so though. Like I really don't. Like that says it's supposed to be a number. That says it's supposed to be a list. So those got to be the right things. This says it's supposed to be an object. And they have checks for that, right? Like it should be giving me a warning over here on the left if that was the case. So anyway, we're going to get the item 0, add that together, and therefore the position of is modified based off of that. So clear and play. Still errors. Stop. Clear. Really want to scream. I'm not kidding you guys. This is so angering. It's so frustrating. I don't get it. I got 7 minutes till the concert, so I gotta go, which really sucks. Really sucks, man. Like this should be working. Makes me just so upset. Set hat position to position of hat plus this. So I was thinking, what if we instead iterate the other direction? So we create a new number variable called I position s, like with an extra s, okay, for start. And so on world start, this is my just Hail Mary. Is that what they call that when your last thing you do? So set I position to be the length of this list. We'll go down to length of list. Then in this script under the loop, what we're going to do is then set I position to -1 with a max on it, which will allow us to make sure it stays above 0. So we'll go grab the -1 or stays at or above 0. So we take I position -1, and then that determines which item we're getting. And so then we're always setting hat position to be with the modification of I position, which when it gets down to 0 is a 0 modifier. So it doesn't modify it at all. And then with that, we don't need to remove items from the list. And the only thing we need to do is know that if I position is greater than 0, we want to send a slower. So we don't need to remove items. We can send loop with a slower if the I position is greater. And that's the goal right there, man. That's the goal. Don't think it's going to work. So angry. So frustrating. Okay. Oh, it worked. What? 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 And this time it works. What? Look at that. There it goes, loading in all the chunks. Why? Why does that work? I didn't do anything different, really. Isn't that just the bee's knees, man? Thank goodness I got this in the last 4 minutes. Oh, good. Okay, so now it's going to spawn in the last one. But now we can spawn in large chunks on world start. We didn't hit any capacity or speed limits there, which was nice. So hit stop. There's one major thing that I want to change in here, which is that on world start, I also want to add 000 as the last item in the list so that it starts by loading in the first chunk. I think that will be really important. Let's duplicate, drag this down. Like, why, man? Why did that work? It's really not any different. Okay, so we set I position -1, set hat position. So now it will start at 0, 0, get the first chunk loaded, then it loads in the rest of the chunks. And I wanted to see what happens if we speed it up to 2.5 seconds. So let's just duplicate this in. Now this should cause an error, but we're just gonna load it and see. Ow. Okay, there it goes for the next one. And then in a second, it's gonna do the next one. We should be hitting some speed limits soon. This is really fast and awesome, though. Well, you know how happy I am right now? I went from pretty frustrated to pretty happy. That looks so good. Look at that. This is so amazing. To start with, 600 or is that it? 625 blocks loaded on world start. Brilliant. And it did it fast. Okay, so that's the good news. It does it fast. It didn't seem to lag out. So we're going to keep the 2.5 second loop in there. Oh. Well, I can sleep easy now. Let's publish this wish. Choose a new photo, select from photos. We took this photo that looks really good. Click confirm and then publish. Oh, and change the name to version 0.03. 03, that is. There we go. Enter. Okay. Public, beta, adventure, capacity solid, player settings solid. Yo, done with that for today. Published world page, visit world. How much time do I got? 1 minute? I probably shouldn't have gone here. But you know what? That's the end of this stream. Thank you so much for sticking with us through to that very insightful. There was nothing insightful about that. I have no idea why that took so long for us to get to work. There's so much more I'd like to do. I don't think I'm going to be back on tonight, which really stinks, but I probably will be back in the next couple days. I got a family event tomorrow, so unlikely it'll be tomorrow, but maybe Sunday if I'm not too drained. But here we are, world's loading in around us. And the real question was, does the spawn point move? That was the real test. I was hoping someone would join. If you're watching right now and you're online at this exact moment, please join on me, Lakes05. If not, no worries. And look at this thing loading in. So brilliant. Cool beans. Gotta go, guys. I hope to see you at the concert if you're coming, join on me, and I'd love to see you guys there. But otherwise, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!